Right, guys, hi. So, what I'm going to do tonight is I'm just going to cover a few sort of like ploys. I did do a video regarding ploys of Wendi Adelsson, but there was like mainly the most common what I kind of thought as well as kind of like surfaced quite a few places, and quite a few people are talking about them as well. But I want to do a few that aren't spoke about so much. Like people, we know, like we all talk about how she went for that walk with Jane a few days before the murder. That was all set up. So we know about things like that. We know about but I think this is quite well known. Like Jeff Lacaz wanted to get rid of his car and get a two-seater, and she stopped him doing that. She wanted him to stick with that Prius and everything. But I want to speak about a few other things over the last couple of years, because I've been covering this case a few years now. I have brought these things up, but I just want to put them together a little bit and talk about them. Now, one of the things that I don't think he spoke about much, and Wendi spoke about it on the stand when Georgia Kappelman was speaking to her about Jeffrey Lacaz again. She said that she was finishing with him because he was very jealous, and he accused her of cheating on him and blah blah blah. Now the fact was, she kind of was cheating on him, but not in the way you and I would think. I think the cheating on him again was a ploy. Now she'd already told Jeff Lacaz that she was going to go for a coffee like with this guy, and of course there are not many coffee shops around, as Jeff Lacaz had said, and she more or less let Jeff Lacaz know like when she was going for this coffee with this guy. And to me, that was a motive, that was a ploy for Jeff Lacaz to turn up and literally lose it over this guy. And I mean, this is how hard-faced she is. If you remember, she said on the stand that she was she did like him until he accused her of cheating, and she almost said, you know, that more or less like, yeah, I did go out with this other guy and everything, but like I finished with him because it just didn't add up. I finished with him because he was jealous. He was jealous because he said I was cheating. It's just only a narcissist would do that, you know, like state the obvious, why don't you? But more than that, what I think she wanted from that, because Jeff Lacaz did go to that coffee shop and see her there, but I think I can almost guarantee, I don't know who that the guy was that she sat and had the coffee with. The fact is, there's not a lot of men that want to turn on Wendi, because she's pretty and all that, and they're sucked in by it all. But I think she wanted an outburst. She certainly wanted him texting her. She wanted the evidence on her phone, so that when it came to that, you know, at the police station, it was like, yeah, look at it, you know, here's my phone, here's all the messages from Jeff. He's so jealous. Jane, look at these messages. That's what all that was. And I believe he's seen what he needed to see, and he went away. But don't forget, if Jeffrey Lacaz did go in there guns blazing, as they say, and really lost it, she would have had witnesses from the staff, you know, to say, yeah, he's very jealous. Don't forget, when I first started going on about all these things to do with Wendi, there's one thing that I noticed with Wendi, And that's very, very different to a mother. And this is how she knew she could play this family, because we all know, if you look at Donna, she just loses it. She wants everything now, because that's what she's done. That's how she's got things with Harvey. She's always got what she wanted. She'll ask Charlie to do something, or she'll want something, and Charlie does everything. So Wendi always knew how to play her mother. So I've always said that this whole thing was set up by Wendi well in advance. Even before writing the book was gaslighting everybody. I know a lot of people say, no, this was Donna. Yeah, no, Donna thinks it's her fault. Charlie thought it was his fault. But if you go back, they've been gaslit. I'm not going to make excuses. But when Donna was trying to find solutions, if you remember, I mean, I have mentioned this one before, when she was saying, we'll pay him off with $1 million and everything. She didn't even answer that. That wasn't on her book. That wasn't on the agenda for Wendi. Nobody's paying anybody off. I want money coming in my account. I'm not paying nothing. And not only that, she knew he wouldn't take it anyway. So, but that would have been a solution that she didn't want. That's not what she was looking for. It had to be murder for Wendi. I mean, for me, it's just so clear to me that this was Wendi that set all this up. Anyway, I've done videos on that of everything that I think about that, but let's just move on. So, okay, so we know about the Jane thing. So we know about she did this in the coffee bar. Now, yoga. She took him to yoga. Now, at that stage, she weren't even talking to him. And again, that was not to do with her and Jeffrey Lacasse. Wendi was always looking for witnesses. She always wanted an audience. She always wanted people around to witness Jeffrey Lacasse doing something wrong, behaving wrong, acting jealous, acting clingy. So of course, I had to take him to yoga with me, because apparently she had a long face at yoga. So why would she take him to yoga? She didn't take him to yoga and was dead smiley, because she didn't want the other people in yoga to say, oh yeah, he came to yoga with her, they look really happy. She wanted them to witness, yeah, he even came to yoga, but she didn't look happy. Don't forget, what also doesn't add up here, I've also gone through the fact that Jeffrey Lacasse wasn't in the right salary bracket for her. He wasn't earning enough money for her. For her, it's millionaires, billionaires if possible, but definitely millionaires. That wasn't Jeffrey Lacasse. So, but the other thing was, she was in quite a new relationship. Don't forget, Jeffrey Lacasse said on the stand they'd only been together like 4 months. So why, with a relationship of 4 months, she told him that, as I said about not getting the car, we have to think of a family. We're going to be a family. In 4 months. He even looked after the kids for her at one stage. Probably while she went out with somebody else, but in 4 months, you meet somebody, they not only meet your kids, they stay at your house, they look after your kids, and, but she wouldn't introduce him properly, other than hi and bye, to her parents. It was set up. And what's more, I believe Donna and Harvey knew what he was going to be. that he was going to be the fall guy. Definitely. Because, as I've said, at an event, an occasion one night that they was all at, none of them went over to speak to him. They said hi, but they didn't go over and speak to him. That's strange. That's strange. And you don't get somebody involved with your kids that soon. My son's 40 and he's still he's still waiting. I'm joking. Anyway, right. What else have we got? The other thing, now I don't know whether people are going to agree with this, but I can't get past it. I actually think she wasn't only setting up Jeffrey Lacasse, she was also setting up Charlie. Now, we know that she went in that meeting and in that interview and she dropped him in within 25 minutes of a 5-hour interview. And yeah, I'll tell you why. What I actually think was, I think her plan was that she'll set up Jeffrey Lacasse, and either way, Jeffrey Lacasse was going to be the fall guy. But also, I think that if that failed with Jeffrey Lacasse, then it was going to be Charlie. And I think her motive for that was that Rob, the eldest brother, was off the scene. If Charlie went down, he's not going to turn her in because those boys, somebody's got to look after those boys. So she was going to let Charlie be the fall guy as well and go down, and she would be left with Mummy and Daddy. And obviously they're getting on in years. If Charlie went away, obviously Robert's not going to come back for any inheritance. Everything would be signed over to her because of her boys. I think she thought that far ahead of it. I also think that when her mother's name started coming up, popping up all the time, she was quite happy for her mother to go along with Charlie. There's only one person, and I've said this before, I'll play the video. Watch what she does. If they mention Harvey, the only person she don't want to go down for anything is Harvey, because Harvey is the one that can sign everything over to her, and Harvey would Daddy's little girl. So I'll just play you this video. You watch her face. When they mention a mother and they talk about, did she say this in the video? She adds to it, like they say, a religious, a zealot. She adds in, a religious zealot. Don't forget also, she, in order to get this in motion, she didn't reply to all her mother's emails. She liked her mother being wound up in order to put the ball in motion to go to Charlie. She knew what she was doing, which is why she said she was going to buy a house in Tallahassee to get her mother nervous, so that her mother would put a step on it and hurry up and get Charlie at it. And that's exactly what happened. This was all Wendy's doing right from the start. It was planned, and it was planned. Like I've always said, she goes for the marathon. It was planned then. But you watch this. She's fine. Talk about Charlie. She's fine. She does kind of defend him because she'd looked after if she didn't. But she kind of smiles about the fact that, would you say your mother gets involved? Would you say this? Would you say that? She smiles about it. Watch this space. The minute they mention Harvey, then you'll see the serious side to her.
Is it fair to say that your mother, Donna Adelson, was following these divorce proceedings pretty closely?
She was definitely being a little bit over-involved, yeah.
She was pretty invested in your personal life. Is that fair to say?
She is one of those moms, yes.
All right, and we talked about your mom, Donna Adelson. Who's your father?
What is my father's name?
Mm-hmm.
Harvey Adelson.
And where do Donna and Harvey live currently?
They live in Miami.
All right. And are you still very close with your parents?
I am.
All right. And do you still live in close proximity to your parents?
I live about a 15-minute drive away.
And where did they live at the time that Dan Markel was killed?
They lived in Coral Springs, Florida. But
do you know whether your parents had other investments other than their work at the Adelson Institute?
I don't know.
You don't know if they own any properties?
I know now that they own properties, but I didn't then.
Okay, and do you know now that they owned properties then?
I actually don't know when they acquired the properties, so I don't know.
All right, was your divorce impacting your family financially? So this is prior to the murder and the social
It was certainly impacting me financially, but I don't think it was impacting the rest of my family.
So you see how she says that, I know now that they own properties. Don't forget, that's a lie. She always knew that they own properties. She always knew how much, that there was millions hanging around. Don't forget as well, there's also a safe somewhere, I believe, because there's messages with Donna saying, can I take 25,000 from your pile and put it in Dad's pile for this, that and the other. Now, we know that Charlie had a big safe, and we know that they had a safe, but there's a safe somewhere. There was a safe somewhere, or there is a safe somewhere that's got all their money in. Because she's saying, can I move from your stack over there? This is because they did like a lot of treatments with cash. So, obviously tax free. So, Wendi knows about that. Wendi knows all about this money and all this lot. So she knew that they had properties, and she knew that they had millions from the dentist practice that they both had. So this is what Wendi wanted. Plus, in her head, she'd get the insurance from Dan for the children, because she gets approximately almost 4,800 a month. It's social. I'm sorry, I know it's American and I don't know what it's called in the UK, but and I don't know what I can compare it to the UK, but she get like a social money, nearly $5,000 a month. So there was a lot for Wendi. Don't forget, for all that Wendi was doing these different jobs, I mean, you'll hear her, she's constantly shouting out, work for immigration, so that's going to get her points. Immigration, that every chance she gets, she does that. But her money wasn't paying out massive big bucks like her brother's, like her dad's. She knew she had to, she had to get it from somewhere. Obviously, her and Dan would split. So, and Dan was on good money. He was a professor and everything. But Dan wasn't bringing in millions and millions like Charlie had started to do, and like her dad was doing. So she wanted a piece of that action. So these were her motives. This is why she was doing all this. She's ready to walk away with the lot. Don't forget, it's nearly 2 years ago that I said, when she was on the stand and everything, and I noticed this with her, where she was really, really like quite happy to just drop her mother in it and a brother in it, but very, very nervous. And about doing it with her father because she needs her father's signature. Yeah, I just want to interrupt myself if you don't mind and tell you, if you can see that tidgy like button down there, if you just want to hit that for me, brilliant, and hit the subscribe. Bingo, thank you. Don't forget as well, I did say to you a couple of years ago on YouTube that she was segregating herself. She was going to start doing this, me and them, especially when they started mentioning a mother. She started to, because she already had a different lawyer. She wasn't stupid. You tell me, how does a woman who doesn't know how to get a TV repaired or even sort it out herself, yet she knows to have a different lawyer completely to the rest of the family? She wouldn't want Rashborn. She didn't want anything to do with them. She wanted to be on her own because she knew that this was going to hit the fan. And so she needed to be in this position where if it did, she could say, I don't know. It looks like, yeah, that they've been part of it. If you just think about it, she didn't go and visit Charlie when he was in prison, in jail, in prison. Never visited. No, not phone calls, nothing. Okay. She didn't bother. Obviously, she was subpoenaed to court and she saw him there and she, gave him a nod and all the rest of it. But she did not visit him. When Charlie was convicted and her mother was like losing it, she wouldn't go and see a mother. Leading up to the case, she wouldn't go and see her mother or her father. She kept herself separate. Once her mother got picked up, then she started going seeing Daddy again. That's so he can sign everything over. But the thing is, it got a little bit too hot for her. That's why she's gone to Texas. She's totally having to segregate herself completely now, because now it's not about the money now. Now it's about her staying out of prison. She can't think about the money side of it. She's just had to do one. Let me ask you something else. What woman in their early 40s leaves the dad who's in his 80s when the mother's been picked up and, collared and everything? She didn't leave her dad at first. It's only now, because it's heating up, she's left her dad. He's in his 80s. Who does that? You wouldn't. If you thought your dad was innocent, she knows. She knows exactly what's going on in here, and she's just got to keep herself away from him completely. And not only that, she's also got this. She's also got to gaslight the kids, or carry on gaslighting the kids. I don't know if grandma or granddad was involved. I really don't know, children. This is why we need to go to Texas. We need to be away from them until everything's gone through court. She's clever, I'll tell you that. She's smart, or do you call it devious? So just going back to that bribe as well. Now, she says on the stand that, the bribe was 3 ways, which was like herself, which was a mum, a dad and Charlie. And, it's even got in the emails 3 ways. Mum and dad 1, 333, Charlie 333, and her 333. Donna actually says, if you, Charlie, and me and dad put in 333, which it involves her. But I don't understand why she does this. She says very clearly, no, it's mum, dad and Charlie. Why would all them all want to put in a bribe and not her? Right. The other thing that's I don't know if this has been done on purpose, or if Kappelman, I'll call it the prosecution, are leaving this out deliberately, and I don't know if Dan's friends would know the answer to this if they was asked. But if you remember, they went for counselling. You have heard me say possibly a few times that I wonder who arranged that counselling. But either way, it wouldn't actually matter, because I would expect, you see, you could expect Wendi to say either way. She could say, no, I was trying within the marriage, I arranged the counselling. Well, yes, she would. Like she arranged to go for a coffee with some guy and let Jeff Lacaz walk in. Yeah, she would arrange to go for the counselling, and she'd say all the things that she needs to say for witnesses in counselling. But then even if she turned around and said, well, actually, Dan asked me to go and he arranged it and I went, that would still go in her favour. In her head, it would go in her favour, because he wanted to try and I wanted to give it a try with him. So, and that would have also been a ploy to tell her mother, so that Donna got a spur on and got this underway, which it did. All these things did, and that's why she was, arranging, right, just, put him in this uniform and, take a photograph of him outside a church, change the religion, because she knew she was riling her mother up. She was doing these things on purpose to rile Jeff Lacaz up to look like some stalker, some neurotic stalker boyfriend, get her mum wound up so that she would get on Charlie's back, which worked. I mean, you've seen Donna, you've seen what Donna's like in court. You've seen what she's like in, she's dramatic. She wants immediate responses, effects, everything. She wants a result straight away. That's Donna, and Wendi knows all this. She knows exactly how to play every one of them, because the difference between them and her is, like how she sat in court fluttering her eyelashes at the jury. The thing for this delusional woman, because she is delusional, is that that's always worked within her family, because all her family love her. We can see right through it, because we don't. We can see how calculated she is. So all this for Wendi, it's like she's known exactly how she plays them, how to play them, how to get what she wants. She just does the tears, she does the helplessness, all this, and then she gets what she wants. And they've all been involved in this. Harvey was involved in this right at the start. I don't think it was Harvey's decision. It was Wendi's decision, and I don't think for a minute Wendi went to her mother and said, "Get Charlie to do this, that, and the other." I don't think it was done like that at all. Wendi just played the victim. She plays helpless, flutters her eyelashes, cries her eyes out, and she's always got what she wanted, and that's what happened. So Donna then went to Charlie and started putting pressure on Charlie. What can we do? We need to keep her here, and all the rest of it. Talk about delusional, though. I'm just going to play you a short clip of Charlie on the stand, and he's actually defending Wendi. And I thought, absolutely suck it in. Absolutely suck it in. He hasn't got a clue.
I think she made that clear too. Nobody knew a murder was taking place.
She pulled up to the crime scene tape, Dr. Adelson.
She didn't pull up to the crime scene tape. She was driving down the street and then had to make a U-turn. It was blocked off. But she wasn't going to.
She couldn't help herself. isn't
Nobody
it?
knew a murder was going to take place.
She exposed you all to some degree by those actions, didn't she?
No, not at all.
And then she threw you under the bus in her interview, didn't she?
Nobody knew a murder was going to take place.
She knew her husband had just been shot, and they were asking her who would want him dead, and she said your name. Are you mad about that?
No, she said a lot of people's names.
Well, she
Not at
said
all.
yours in the first 25 pages of a 5-hour interview. Isn't that true?
I wasn't there for the interview.
But you've reviewed it in preparation for your trial, haven't you?
I actually don't know if I've seen her interview.
There was a lot of questions of you about, didn't you do this murder with Wendi? Doesn't the state think you did this murder with Wendi? Are you familiar with your charges in this case?
Yes, I'm very familiar with my
All right.
charges.
And who are you alleged to have done this murder with?
I'm alleged to have done this murder with my sister.
See, he's on the stand there and he's smirking and he's smiling because he too is delusional. This family is a family that have always got what they wanted through money. Money can buy you anything within reason. And he's practically smirking because he thinks he's going to walk. Because his money has always got him what he wants. He thinks it's quite funny what she's saying about Wendi. Everything's so funny with this family. Until it's not. And then you see the results of, obviously, the results of criminals after they've done even just a short spell inside. They're not built for it. I don't think anybody's built to go inside, to be fair, but they're not built for it. But Charlie is actually quite amused. He's actually not even realising what Kappelman's saying to him. And it's only afterwards, when he gets convicted within 24 hours, he's saying to his mother on the phone, well, like, she went by the crime scene. It's like she knew something. Charlie then, I felt, he wanted to drop Wendi. He didn't care about the kids. They're not his kids. He already had a kid as well that none of his family care about. They only cared about Wendy's kids. So, yeah, tell me what you think, especially then of them clips. If you've noticed anything that I haven't noticed, because it's always good. It's always good to hear. But I don't know what it is with me with Wendi. Do you know, somebody sent a message. They'll probably see this on YouTube anyway and say something. But somebody actually said to me, hate Wendi, don't you? Oh dear. There's definitely something to do with Wendi with me. I don't think it's hate. I think it's just that I can just see through her. She's just like a window to me. And I don't, not that I want to decry any man that can see right through Wendi. I do actually like to hear when a man can see through Wendi, because I did go through a stage where there was like loads of men. This was at first when I first started covering this case, and yous that have been with me from the start, I've said right from the start it was Wendy's doing. And like a lot of people was like, she's not done nothing, blah blah blah. And when I looked, it was all like middle-aged men. So it's nice, like when men come on and say, yeah, like we can see right through her and things like that. But no, I don't. It's not to do with hate. That's the wrong word. Hate is as though I know the woman, and I think you got to know somebody, haven't you, to hate them? I don't know. Maybe not. I don't know. It's not hate. I don't know what it is. Frustration. Dislike. can see right through her. I'm not conned by her. Do you know, I think it's less about what my feelings are to her and more wanting, more feeling that I've got for Ruth, Phil and Shelley. And I just want justice for Dan. So it's not to do with what I think about her. I don't really care about her. I just want them to have peace in their life. That's what I want. And I also feel as though it's such a shame for the lads, because I don't think that ever, because of, I know we can see how smart Wendi is, and I do think part of the reason she's with this bloke in Texas is to say, boys, I don't know what's going on there with Gran and Grandad. We've got to get away until the court decides and finds the truth. That's what all that is. Because you can guarantee the guy she's with has got loads of lolly. So she's not too bothered about that money now. If you're going to put the money there and her freedom there, she wants her freedom. She wanted it all. She wanted her freedom. So she's got some fella who I believe's minted. And it's like, come on. She cared about them boys. She's took them away from all the friends that they've grown up with. Don't forget now, they're like young teenagers now. I think, isn't that the worst time? You're just developing your personality. You're going through changes, especially boys at that age. You know, it's like girls, sport, this, you know, and it's just like, yeah, come on, we're taking it away. So, yeah, that's what I see. Anyway, right, okay, and for my patrons, again, thank you so much for staying with me, and I promise you I will make it up to you. So yeah, again, Brian, I will cover that case in here. Anybody else wants me to cover anything in Patreon, just send me the message through Patreon, and yeah, I'll see what I can do. There's a couple of cases actually that I've kind of looked at and I've thought, oh, I wouldn't have minded like getting into them, but you know the history of what I've been telling you, so I couldn't. So hopefully now that's all done with. And the good thing is that when this case starts for Donna in June, yeah, I'll be around. So yeah, anyway, okay guys, so I'm gonna say good night, take care, and come back. See you soon. Bye.